I'm joined now by comedian Isaac Butterfield, who has kicked off his 2024 World Tour in Australia. In 2 days, he'll be at the Capitol Theatre in Bendigo. You can grab your tickets now, but be quick because he sells out very quickly indeed. He's not only funny, but he is one of the best at handling hecklers.
1 year to the day since I did my last show.
Been a while.
Shut your mouth, woman. I remember you. How do I remember you? Where do I know you from? Kim. I remember we had quite a weird interaction. You made an absolute yourself. Everyone in the room hated you. You left. We thought you perished. We celebrated, and yet your return has come.
Hey, Isaac Butterfield, welcome to the program. Your crowd work is very good. It's very important these days for stand-up, isn't it, the crowd work?
Yeah, it certainly is. It gets this new audience in that have never seen stand-up before. And that right there, that poor woman, she's been to
You were so mean to her. She wasn't even a heckler.
I am one of the worst people alive. I'll tell you that right now, Rita. But it's fun. It's a good time to get involved with the crowd. And they come along, and it's funny, you know, the people who sit in the front rows, they pay the most for the tickets, and they're the most interested, and they're the first to buy. And then I go out there and I'm like that, horrible and mean. And it's just part of it. It's what keeps it fun and new for me. Because I go out every night and I do similar material and I'm working on new bits and preparing for a special. But to go out there and find someone to ruin their day, that's what makes it fun.
They love it. They all want to be part of those viral clips. They love it. Now, you've not only got a world tour, but you've got a book, which I'm very interested in, because the title alone, Better Man, a manifesto on modern masculinity. Now, that's going to trigger people right then and there.
Immediately.
Are you our Jordan Peterson?
Maybe a horrifically bogan version of Jordan Peterson. No, not at all. I didn't want to write, I didn't want to write something that was trying to make me look like I was writing a biography. I'm only 30. I know it looks like I'm a bit older. There's a harsh wind where I live. Nonetheless, it's important for younger people to understand that, particularly when they come from 16 years old to a little bit older, that those years, the formative years, they're going to encounter a lot of different problems, issues, and different ideas. And this book isn't so much this, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is a far-right comedian saying this. Not at all. In fact, a lot of the opinions you probably see in this book are very much in the middle.
Oh.
There's the first chapter is all about mental health. There's a chapter in the middle about marrying your best friend, which I did with my wife, and we get along like a house on fire and have done for 10 years. There's a chapter about my son when he was born and what, you go through mentally to prepare for that.
Yeah.
And there's also me being a horrible person in there as well. Don't worry about that. But it's important, I think, for young dudes to not just hear these things on the building site or in the footy club or wherever they happen to be, wherever they get their information from, to receive it from someone who's gone out and done all these shows and travelled the world and met these people and done these things.
And still young and relatable, because you appeal to that demographic very strongly. I've got a 17-year-old son, so I know that. Do you think there is a crisis in masculinity in not just Australia, but the West? We have boys growing up just hearing negative messages, the toxic masculinity, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. And I do wonder what the impact that has on their psyche as they grow into young men.
There's definitely horrible men, but to say that masculinity is inherently toxic is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You would never say that about mean women being toxic, feminine people.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around and they don't see the damage that it does. Like, dudes can deal with it, older men can deal with it, but we are seeing a distinct line in the sand at younger people's preschools, wherever they happen to be, or kindergartens. It's the boys versus the girls. These boys are going to grow up to be these horrible people, and it's just not the case.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that creates an enemy between these two genders, one of the many, or two of the many genders. And
there are so many genders.
There are so many genders.
Well, let's have a look at some of that, because let's do some lefties together. It feels strange and weird, because it's something I do by myself. It's a solo thing. But let's start with the Veep, Kamala Harris. She started swearing.
We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down. Excuse my language.
Oh, she's just comedic gold. She gives so much material, but the left in general do, and yet comics are so shy about using that rich material.
Yeah.
Why is that? I know a lot of comics lean left themselves, but when the left are giving you this craziness, surely it's, if you're interested in being funny, you're going to utilise it.
Yeah, being a left-wing comedian is a smart business decision because you're going to end up on, you know, the Channel 10s or wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the Melbourne Comedy Festival roadshow. You're going to be on these big platforms and they're going to push you because you play
Netflix specials that are awful.
There are some very good ones. There's some very bad ones as well. And but also we know that comedy is subjective. We know that people don't want to come and see if they're an older person perhaps, or they are left wing themselves. They probably don't want to come and see me, and that's fine. Some people just aren't good people. They aren't funny people. But other people do enjoy that, and I think if there's a nice mix, then it's fine.
That's it.
But if you walk through Melbourne right now, or you go to the comedy clubs, I would be absolutely shunned. They would not want me.
Which is crazy because you have such an enormous following. You've got more than 2 million followers on YouTube alone. I know you've got massive followings on other social media sites, but I looked that up and I checked some really high-profile Aussie comics. I couldn't find a single one that came close to your following. Jim Jeffries has got 300,000. I mean, he had his own show in the US, so, you know, he had really high profile. But so there is obviously a market for your type of comedy. It's just the comedy world seems to be dominated by leftist types. Now, I want to play you a couple of clips involving pronouns, and this one has a pronoun threat, which I enjoyed.
Oh, good.
Hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a f***ing problem. And if I catch your ass being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were. Thank you for coming, and have a nice day.
Oh, I'm not sure if death threats are a way to have folks embrace your neopronouns.
It's actually my wife. Interesting. She's
let herself go a little bit.
No, she likes to dress up. It's interesting, and this is the thing with TikTok, is you're seeing some of the most insane people of all time having a platform to reach so many different
millions.
People. These people, you know, 100 years ago would be on the streets, people would walk past them and tiptoe around them and all that type of stuff. But now they have a platform to the masses, and we're seeing it right there.
We are, and we do not embrace any sort of acts of violence on this program, except if it's delivered by a cat.
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am
That is one of the all-time great clips ever. I mean, you know, you can say what you want about social media, but that 8 seconds of 24 karat gold there makes it all worth it.
I've never been a fan of cats, but that's good. That's positive. We're starting to make a bit of headway with cats.
Oh, I do love it. Now, another thing I don't understand with comics these days, because a lot of them seem to be looking for applause, saying, you know, a woke little
political
pronouncement. Yes, yeah, but not funny. Funny doesn't seem to be the priority anymore. And I hear a lot of comics talk about, well, we don't want to punch down, this punching down concept. But you look at who's powerful, all the big institutions, whether you're talking about Hollywood studios, sporting leagues, celebrities, corporates, they're all woke. So surely if you are taking those on, you're punching up.
Yeah, I think in comedy, it is all about, in my personal opinion, I throw punches wherever they'll land. I'll king hit. It doesn't matter, whatever's going on, all right? People are coming and they're paying money to laugh, for an hour to forget about their lives, whether they're good lives, bad lives, or indifferent. And if you don't give that to them, if they don't spend their entire time belly laughing, their abs walking out, like hurting, then you haven't done your job.